You see what I'm wearing, right? I got my little.
Yeah. I turned on my heater today for the first time this season.
So we'll go ahead and kick it off.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Mr. Henderson, can I go ahead and introduce you and then turn it over to you?
Please.
Great. Thank you all for joining us for our Wooten Parent Power Group workshop. Today we have Mr. Andrew Henderson. For over 20 years, he was the executive director for Families for Children, Inc. and is currently consulting program officer for FCC Spiritual and Behavioral Health Centers. FCC is a behavioral health program operated by Families for Children. Mr. Henderson attended the University of California, Santa Cruz, where he received a bachelor's degree in economics in 1981. He attended California State University, Los Angeles, where he received a master's degree in counseling in 1988. Throughout his professional career, Mr. Henderson has been an advocate for youth and is credited with developing innovative programming to address this population. He created the Foster Youth Empowerment Workshop for families and children. The program consists of a 4-day curriculum-based workshop in Big Bear, California. The workshop taught the 7 principles of resilience, engaging the youth in adventure-based counseling activities, and in the evening held communication forums where the youth were able to share incredible personal stories in an environment of trust and fellowship. Mr. Henderson has a long and distinguished history of collaborating with public and private organizations to help to enhance the quality of life for youth and families. Thank you so much, Mr. Henderson, for joining us, and welcome all. I will turn it over to him.
Thank you. Can we share the screen?
Can you all see it? It's sharing.
Let's see.
Can I get it? Can you all see the screen? Maybe type it in the chat box. Mr. Henderson, can you see the screen?
Let's see. No, what did I just?
So Wendy and Catherine are able to see it.
Okay, I got, okay, let me get out of
But
there.
you need to see it since you are going to be speaking here. You need to see what you're speaking. So I'm going to stop sharing. Yeah, and then I will share again.
I must have did something to my.
So I'm going to share one more time.
Here we go. Okay, back.
Can you see it?
I'm good now. Yes.
Okay, great. I'm going to turn it over.
So, very good. So teaching kids responsibility and discipline. So before we get started, can we have just a couple of quick introductions there and tell me about what interested you in hearing about tonight's session?
I can start. My name is Wendy. I am a parent of 3 kids, a 6-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a soon-to-be 15-year-old. And so for me, it's really about my 15-year-old and finding myself in a place of like figuring out other ways to kind of help her be more responsible and what I can do on my end as a parent. So that's really what attracted me to the workshop that I happened to come across this afternoon on social media. Well, and it came at a perfect time.
All right, well, welcome.
Thank you.
We have one more person. Let's see who that would be. Catherine, can you?
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, there I am. All right, I'm in a meeting. Okay, I was interested in this. I have a 10-year-old, 2 boys. I have a 10-year-old and a 17-year-old, and I need some help at 2 different levels, obviously for the teenager than the 10-year-old. But it seems like since, you know, the COVID and doing school at home, the responsibility part has them taking personal responsibility, that the level has dropped, and the discipline too, tell you the truth. I'm just tired. I'm
Hey,
tired.
you know what? I am not mad at you. Hopefully, we can share some information that
Okay.
that gives you some assistance in this
Thank
whole
you.
process. We can go ahead and advance the slide, Rebecca. So motivating your student. The purpose of this presentation is to suggest means for parents to approach their children and teenagers in a way that reduce friction and misunderstandings. Information on the normal, expected aspects of development and those behaviors that may be cause for concern are presented. Specific activities are suggested for motivation, building self-esteem, and developing a sense of responsibility within the family. Next slide. So today's discussion, we're going to be highlighting self-esteem, motivation, child's personal responsibility for learning, and then talk about some family activities that can motivate your learner. So self-esteem. Self-esteem refers to the sense of self-respect, confidence, identity, and purpose found in an individual. A child's self-esteem determines how he or she will act and learn. So it's important. You see, people think self-esteem is this term that just talks about making you feel good about yourself, but you see where it says how it assists how these individuals will act and learn. That's why it's so important for children to gain that sense of self-esteem. It's important to begin helping the child develop self-esteem as early in life as possible. However, it is never too late to begin or to resume this assistance. Next slide. So points concerning children's self-esteem. Children with high self-esteem, well, they're self-motivated learners. They have high expectations. They get along well with peers, parents, and adults. They're more self-managed and self-disciplined and assume personal responsibility. They seek and enjoy new challenges, set and accomplish realistic short and long range goals. So you see, it's more than just a word. And I think, again, I'll go back to oftentimes people don't understand the true meaning of what that means in a person's life. They hear the word, they don't connect it to anything real and significant. So this is to let you know that it's extraordinarily powerful in how not just children, but how adults see themselves and how they function. So we can go to the next slide. Okay. Children with low self-esteem, they exhibit low motivation for learning. They feel inadequate. They criticize others. They lack confidence. They find excuses for putting forth little, if any, effort. They find that their motivation to learn lessens. They are external or other motivated. Now, I don't want you guys to feel bad if these are some behaviors or traits that your children are exhibiting. And we all go through it, and it may not necessarily mean anything. It's just, a ebb and tide in how children grow up and how they function. So don't feel like this is a big label here. But what we do want to do tonight is show how we can build that up. We can go to the next slide. So conditions for self-esteem occur when a child is seen as important and unique, with rights and feelings that need to be acknowledged and protected. Children develop self-esteem when they have a sense of security, identity or self-concept, belonging, purpose, and personal competence. We can, next slide. So to support your child in having and maintaining a positive self-concept, which is the key part of self-esteem, there are 4 actions you can take that will facilitate his or her efforts. Treat your child as an important person. Treat him or her with respect, even when it's hard, because sometimes it's hard. Provide your child with love and acceptance. Provide your child with acknowledgement of his or her strengths and make positive comments to others about your child. Now, that's a pretty obvious and simple statement, but sometimes we forget the obvious and simple, don't we? We think we know it. We know that that makes sense, but we just don't do it enough. And I think when you are living in challenging times like now, it's really important to reinforce these things. And then the last one is to spend quality time with your child. And I suppose that everybody doing remote work, that's not a problem, but we just have to turn all that time into quality time. We can go to the next slide. A child feels a sense of belonging when he or she is allowed to contribute to the family and is appreciated by family. You can facilitate your child's sense of belonging in the following ways: build close family relationships, teach your child how to be a group member, and encourage your child to perform service to others. Now, that last piece, encourage your child to perform service to others, just think about how you feel when you do something for someone else, right? I mean, that's an intuitive sense of uh, happiness, an intuitive sense of feeling good about doing something that just doesn't benefit you, but benefits someone else. I mean, there's a feeling that is different from doing other things. We can go to the next slide. A sense of purpose occurs when children feel good about themselves. You can help your child develop and maintain a sense of purpose by doing the following: have high but reasonable expectations for your child to achieve. Help your child to set realistic goals and try to help him or her acquire the skills necessary to reach the goals. Demonstrate faith and confidence in your child's ability to complete tasks, and when necessary, provide help. Expand your child's interest and talents by providing as many new experiences as possible. Implement a reward system to motivate your child. Okay. Are you, the two parents on, Wendy and I'm sorry, I didn't get the other name. Are you guys doing any of these events in your homes?
Honestly, we used to, but we've dropped off of it.
Yeah, and that is so typical. That's called life. But this just goes to show you how important it is to be as consistent as possible in doing those things. You can go to the next slide. It's important for your child to develop a sense of personal competence. This can be accomplished by practice. However, you can encourage your child in this practice in the following ways. Help your child to learn to set reasonable goals, identify resources, and to plan a schedule to reach his or her goals. Okay, so this is very interactive, right? So this is something you can sit down with your child and do as a way to direct the energy, as a way to work through the just enormous amount of time and sometimes unstructured time that everybody has now. So you provide encouragement and support to your child by recognizing and appreciating progress made towards meeting goals and established timelines, and in acquiring and using problem-solving skills. Okay, that's super important that children learn problem solving. So motivation. Motivation is a concept which explains the energy, the direction, and the volition which together induce human behavior. Motivation is an attempt to explain why people choose to do the things they do. For practical purposes, motivation in this module refers to the way in which you get your learner to do what you want him or her to do, which is the main reason why you guys are on call. So let's go ahead and advance the slide. So motivation is how you get your child to do their expected chores, complete their homework on their own, get along with other family members, and do what is generally expected of them, such as making appropriate decisions, following through on tasks, and living up to expectations. Everyone is motivated. However, not everyone is motivated towards the same goal or goals. So there are two sources of motivation: internal and external. Internal or self-motivation It is internal energy that drives students to want to learn. When people do what they love to do, they do more. The self-motivated students value knowledge and achievement. They are driven to create and to advance in their career preparation and work situation. It is possible to encourage internally or self-motivated learners by establishing learning rituals that are consistently enforced in the home, enhancing the learner's self-esteem on a consistent basis, and using consistently positive reinforcers in acknowledging learners' successes. Now, when it says positive reinforcers, that's something we all do in raising kids, but it's not just an unstructured event. You can see that it's a pretty profound way to encourage your children to do better. We can move on. So external motivation. External motivation is generated from others. Although external motivation is better than no motivation at all, external motivation should be used by parents only when necessary to provide learners a sense of achievement and confidence, which may result in motivation becoming more internally derived. External motivation usually begins early in a child's life with the use of rewards and punishment. We can move on. So discipline is a form of external motivation that is used to facilitate obedience. Most effective when you mean what you say, follow through, be sure you he or she did wrong, and be sure your child understands the consequences. So when we talk about external motivation versus internal motivation, um, external motivation means that a child will do something if he's forced to do it, or if he doesn't do it, he knows he'll get in trouble, right? So when no one is looking, guess what they're not doing? They're not doing what you want them to do. So that's external motivation can be used in an emergency, but it's not preferred. The next slide. Discipline is not synonymous with punishment. Discipline learned by knowing how to behave is optimal. This is a positive internal motivation approach, which leads to children having self-discipline, which in turn leads to responsibility. So Rector identifies 12 ways parents can facilitate their learners' motivation. Encourage by expecting your child to be competent and responsible. Provide enthusiastic rewards for effort and improvement. Provide support and security for any setbacks and fears. Continually appreciate small steps of accomplishment, so important. Every little thing they do that can be rewarded should be rewarded, and it can be merely a word, good job, thank you, goes a long way. Continually appreciate small steps of accomplishment. Expect children to make many trials at certain behaviors. Applaud successes, regardless of whether they are large or small. Listen to your child's feelings as well as his or her message. Provide as many opportunities as possible for your child to develop and refine his or her skills. Help your child value his or her successes by sharing your happiness for the success. Have a time set aside or ritual to allow for skill practice. Provide your child with security by setting and maintaining limits. Enjoy being with your child, providing love, support, guidance, instruction, and by modeling the values and behaviors important to you and your family. Now, I know you're not going to remember all of this, but it is recorded, so you can always go back to YouTube or the Wooden Center website to access some of these skill sets. If you wanted to jot them down, you can always go back and do that. Child's personal responsibility for learning. Being responsible is to make sure something happens. It is making decisions. Making decisions to solve problems takes practice in learning about choices and consequences of those choices. In order to help your child develop responsible behaviors, it is very important that you establish clearly and exactly who in the family is responsible for what and when. When children know what they're responsible for, They will feel more secure, learn to make decisions and plan for actions, and learn to be responsible for the consequences of their decisions. Beginning early in the child's life by stating expected responsibilities establishes lifelong patterns. So after you've established responsibilities for specific tasks, you may wish to post a written list of family members' responsibilities using the following examples as guidelines. Home responsibilities. So you'll have on your refrigerator, pick up toys, set table, help with food preparation, run errands, do laundry. And you will also have on your refrigerator student responsibilities, schoolwork, study, pack for school. Help your child develop a sense of responsibility. Experience help your child to become aware of what he or she experienced. Identity. Have your child describe what was significant about the experience or particular event. Analyze. So now help your child to analyze and to understand why the event or outcome was or was not significant. Generalize. Summarize with your child how what he or she learned can be used in future decisions. So it starts with experience, moves to identity, then you analyze, then you generalize. Family activities to motivate your learning. The family is the prime motivator for your learning. It is the family atmosphere that children learn to be appreciated, to feel secure, to feel a sense of belonging, to feel valued and respected, and to receive encouragement. Following is a list of activities that have been proven successful for motivating learners in some families. However, there are no right ways for all families. The best activities are those that work for you. So when you go shopping, take your child and explain why you buy certain items and not others. Have a do right bulletin board where items or messages about good things that have happened or about tasks that have been completed or posted. Have your child make a collage entitled, I am okay, and so is my family. Read together, both silently and aloud. Family meetings. Family meetings that are a regularly scheduled ritual become great motivators. Following are some general guidelines for establishing family meetings. Hold a family meeting once per week, every week, no matter what. The whole family gets together for a family meeting. This technique is for all families, single parent, two parent, family with one child or 11. Do not allow interruptions. Have one family member answer the phone and or door, telling callers they will have to try again later or leave messages for return calls. Everyone gets an opportunity to talk or express his or her feelings without interruption or criticism. Each child has the opportunity to say what is on his or her mind to get things off his or her chest. There are to be no interruptions or criticism. If a child has nothing to say, ask about his or her week. So, family meetings are the single most important thing you can do because everything I talked about can be discussed in the family meeting. So the family is ready for the change, if you will, ready for the new direction and the new effort that you're going to be making to make things easier for everybody. And this is discussed in the family meeting, and everybody has a voice. As I said, this has been the single most effective thing I have heard in talking to people that have heard this information, that the family meeting is a very, very powerful tool. Next. So the benefits of a family meeting: children feel valued by having a say in decisions. Issues can be explored before anger takes over. Family members have a sense of belonging. Parents can appreciate the good things children have done. Children learn how their individual wants and needs affect other people. Small problems get solved before they become much larger problems. Family experience pulling together to help each member. Families are strengthened and become significant as a way of life. Or families are strengthened and become significant. Okay, so that's it for me. I want to say thank you for listening to what I hope was some helpful information. And I am also, what I do primarily is I am a foster parent recruiter. we are absolutely attempting to build more foster parents in the community. Very important work. So you see the information there on this slide. Now, any questions? I didn't get a chance to allow you guys to kind of ask questions or talk about the materials. Anything jump out at you that you want some clarification on, I'd like to talk about?
I had a question on the family meetings. Like when you hold the family meetings, is there like, for say, an agenda you're holding? Like, oh, is this what we're gonna discuss? Or is it just kind of like we all come together and just kind of talk about whatever we have on our minds at that moment? Like, I don't know exactly what the structure would look like as far as like.
So it should be structured, loosely structured, because if there are a lot of kids involved, or even if there aren't, you want to start to have the family feel like there's a structured part of their day, right? So you want to have as much structure around that family meeting. So a little light agenda, I would suggest. Anybody else? Okay, well, again, this was a primer. A lot of information in a short period of time, and I would really suggest that you guys visit the website and also YouTube to kind of spend time with it. Pick and choose what makes sense. Some of the things may not make sense, and there may be a few things that do. But what's important is that if any of it helps, it's there free for you to use, and I really encourage you to take advantage of it. So I want to thank everybody for listening, and I wish everybody the best.
Thank you, Mr. Henderson. Is it okay if parents reach out to you if a question comes up at a later time that maybe it didn't come to mind this evening, or after they watched the video for a second time?
Please have them. My email
Thank
address
you.
is there. Please feel free to email me any questions you might have, or if there's just any information you want to share.
Great, thank you so much. And Mr. Henderson will be with us next week as well. We're going to be diving into a little bit more in parenting and navigating this new normal. There was a question in the chat about the presentation. It is going to be made available, as Mr. Henderson said, on the Wooten Center website and also our Wooten Center YouTube page as well.
And remember, it's a building block process. So if you guys are able to hang in there for all 4 sessions, I think you'll get more benefit and get a greater picture of how this applies in your life and how you raise your children. Okay. Well, on that note, I'm going to go get me something to eat. Thanks, Rebecca. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining us. Again, look for our video upload on the website and the YouTube page. We'll see you next week, Mr. Henderson.
All right. Have a good evening, everybody.
Bye-bye.